Andreas, the threat for me seems to be like the person that obviously, like you said before, it will try constantly to confirm itself. And here it wants to have its own reality reflected back to it. And even though like it can turn the words you're saying into anything to try and confirm its own reality. Oh, so Andreas says there's no one, I can get to that, or you know what I mean? It will try and confirm its reality by manipulating the message how it wants to hear it. But energetically, it's just not reflected back at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just in a way you circling around yourself. Nothing else does do anything. It's just you asking a question, you hearing whatever you want to hear, and then work on what you believe to have heard. Yeah, of course. It has nothing to do with what comes from here, which is nothing actually, or from the floor, or from the wall. It's just, again, you or the me living in its own artificial reality.
Because in a way, if what's being said was actually heard, there wouldn't then be a question.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is no actually hearing of it. But yeah, then there just wouldn't anyone be there if you... Yeah. Which, of course, is a story already, that you can really hear it and then something happens. That's all it is.
And is there a special light what you see?
Is it a special
light?
light?
Light, because yes.
No.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
No, I don't see more or anything else than anyone here sees. There's nothing additional here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, super.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the irritation from the teachers always. Everybody says and sees something else.
See something, no, I don't see it. No.
And I see nothing. As I.
Yeah, no, there's really nothing special here in that sense.
Oh, that's good.
No gimmick.
And that's the problem of the seeker?
Well, yeah, the seeker is looking for something special. In a way, the seeker is looking for the one thing that makes the difference.
Of what?
Well, in the end, for itself, what makes the difference from me being unfulfilled and me being fulfilled? So what's the difference? And of course, that could be the question to me. What's different with you, so to speak? What's the difference? Do you see a special light, or do you feel in a certain way, or are you more intuitive, or something? What's different? But the actual question is, what's the difference between me and fulfillment? And there is none.
Of course, for a difference, you need two.
You need two, at least, yeah. Actually, three. One state, and someone who knows that they are different. But it's always in separation.
I was going to ask, because there's no one there. Sorry, okay. Because there's no one there seeing anything. I was going to say, so it's not possible for you to reflect on what's happening in that sense of evaluating.
From a personal experience. In
the way of evaluating, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the evaluation the person lives in is only, what does this do to me? If this happens, how does it affect me? That's the evaluation that the person lives in.
That's where all of polarity comes from, good and bad, is better and worse. Is this serving me or taking me?
In the end, one could say so. Things are good that somehow serve me on my path towards fulfillment, and things are regarded as bad if they seem to take away fulfillment from me, or if they seem like an obstacle on my path.
It's impossible, though, for me to see the difference between that as a position, which is what it essentially is, and then different discrimination through preference, because that body still discriminates based upon preference.
Yeah, but only apparently, not really. So there is no awareness or consciousness or no knowing what my preferences are. I'm not walking around with an inner dialogue that tells itself, I like spaghetti more than rice. But apparently,
But
so far,
yeah.
usually spaghetti are being chosen.
So it's effectively like a reflex. It's effectively just a reflex of the body.
It's just what
Someone
just what
goes-
seems to be happening blindly. But the person would make up, without knowing actually, would make up this story to itself. I'm a spaghetti person. I'm a person that likes spaghetti. And without spaghetti in my life, I couldn't ever be happy. And
What about sauce?
sauce. Well, I'm from Stuttgart. We eat sauce. We'll have a lot of
What
sauce.
kind of sauce?
Well, basically all of them. I can even mix sauces.
Mint sauce.
No mint. No mint. I'm still from Germany. So.
No salad.
Just stuff that's cultural appropriate.
No salad.
I've never opened my mind beyond that.
So it's not all the time new and random, like your preferences, like mint. So now you know you don't like mint. But I thought,
No, I don't know that I don't like mint. I'm not there to know it,
just to tell
just to tell.
that you don't like mint.
That's just what seemed to have happened. I don't like mint. Well, I have no idea what mint actually is. And I have no idea what not liking mint means. So in that sense, those preferences, they are apparent. There isn't anything that really prefers anything over anything else. It's not real. I don't care, basically. Or there is no one there who cares, who thinks that this plays an important role in my life.
Would you then say effectively there's no actual discrimination going on?
Oh yeah, of course. Every discrimination is dreamt.
It's from a personal position of.
Yeah, of course. You need objects, you need parts in order to discriminate them. But there are no parts. There is no discrimination, really,
And that's always the case.
so to speak. Yes. Yeah, that's the natural, timeless reality. That's all there is, if you want so, of course. Yeah. And also the illusion of discrimination is just within a dreamt reality. Then too, there is no real discrimination.
No, but sometimes, like, say you're making, let's call it a big decision, you might not discriminate as a big decision versus a small decision, but you might chew over it for a period of what I would consider as time.
Of course, absolutely.
That appears as discrimination to me.
Yeah, to you, this would appear like that. I understand. Yeah.
Because it's not just an automatic reflex like spaghetti, it's like, oh, I'm not sure, should I take.
Oh,
this or
that's
do
an
that?
automatic reflex. That's just happening over 6 months. That's connected to an apparently big decision. It's the same. It's just relative to each other.
So would you say then, each decision, whether it's an instant thing like spaghetti, or whatever the other option is, or like if it's like a 6
I
month.
don't know if it's instant. You know, when you sit in a restaurant, you have spaghetti with tomato sauce, you have spaghetti with cream sauce.
Well, you always react.
It's all good.
You always react.
Oh no, it's just exactly as it is.
No, but my question, okay, an instant decision for you, okay, like an instant decision for you would be still or sparkling water, it's always sparkling, and that's instant. So,
It's timeless.
It's
It's
timeless.
never instant. Really.
what I'm saying, say there's like an
Oh, it's
instant,
only always instant. It's
what I'm
timeless.
saying, say it's like just one of those decisions versus a 6 month thing that requires more thinking. Would you say both are as effortless as each other?
Absolutely, 100%. Because there's never the experience that there is someone who needs to find a solution, who needs to do the evaluation, to come to a conclusion to come to a solution that serves me most on my path towards fulfillment. Oh no, it's just what happens.
Yeah.
thoughts coming up, and then for 2 days, no thoughts about it, and then after 3 days, thoughts again. Should I do this? And then it's gone again. It just takes as long as it takes, without the need for ever coming to a solution. There is not this inner pressure of, I have to find a solution in order to be good, to feel good. It's the same thing. The person lives in the impression, I have to consciously make a decision to come to this moment where I can just, now I know what to do. And this is just not there.
That's the difference for the person, is because making a smaller decision, let's say, doesn't feel like as much effort. Making like a 6-month decision or whatever it is.
Yeah,
feels
no,
like
it's all
so
effortless.
much,
It's all
yeah.
effortless because it never needs a solution for someone to feel okay to be again, to go on living now, unburdened with the need of finding a decision. Of course not.
Andreas?
Yes.
When I'm in meetings or after, there's evidence of absence and stuff, but it refers very quickly back to feeling like someone and telling stories and stuff in lesser or bigger degrees. And is the reverting sort of back to it, is that at random or is that because it's stronger than?
No, it's at random because the me isn't really strong.
Yeah.
It's not strong because it's a real autonomous force or something.
Yeah.
No, it's just what seems to be happening for no
Because
real
it tends
reason.
to feel like that because
I understand.
yeah, because that seems to be what's going on again and again and again.
The thing is that is its feeling anyway. I'm real, and my existence can't be questioned. Actually, that's how strong it feels. Well, I am. I exist, and of course, it feels as if it's an autonomous something. Well, actually, it isn't. It's just what seems to be happening, but not because the me itself is really existing and strong. It's not strong. It doesn't exist even. And it could just or not come back if you want, so any time. But if it comes back, that's just what seems to be happening. One could say, it's a bit twisted now, but one could also say that is its strength, that its wholeness being this.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter that it happens.
Yeah, you can't really say anything against wholeness.
No.
So there is no strong me. It's not that the illusion is somehow strong.
No, because the seeing of this
It isn't.
seems also completely unrelated to anything anyway. Like,
Yeah.
it comes completely out of the blue, like, oh, there just is no one. But then the next moment I feel the whole thing.
You're just, back with all ingredients of the story of the person. Oh, yeah, of course. But again, not because there really is someone who is strong and real, and no, it's just what seems to be happening. So, and in that sense, this is also not a method or something. Also, coming to these meetings is not a method. So, I mean, apparently they do what they do. Well, it could just apparently be like that. That there's just a break from being someone or a break from the story or whatever. And when leaving the room, just the apparent illusion comes back. This is not part of a path.
How come it gives so much attraction to the me or the person?
Well, again, there is no real answer to it. There's just an answer within the story. It just seems to just be one ingredient of it. The need to survive, the need to struggle,
Yeah.
The feeling that I'm responsible for surviving,
Yeah.
and I'm responsible for becoming fulfilled, and it lives kind of in the burden of reality.
There's
Everything is
yeah.
real and meaningful, and it's about something.
There's always
basically.
a lot of tension around it.
Yeah, because I have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's how it seems, there is a constant threat. I mean, the worst threat is that I won't survive this moment, but there's also a constant threat that I lose peace by someone looking at me in the wrong way, or by suddenly rain start, or a parking ticket, so all the peace that I meditated for in the morning might be gone like that. But that's a constant threat in the person's reality.
It's always, in a way, like always trying to rearrange something. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rearrange that I can be without too much stress, and that I can just go on my path, back on track, so to speak. When there's anything disturbing, I have to, as quickly as possible, feel safe again, that I can go on seeking, go on living. Apparently.
In a way, it looks also like communication is happening.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not real, but it seems to be happening. Yeah.
Andreas, I don't know if this is even necessary, but I'm kind of thinking it. Each me is like kind of surviving in its own unique way.
Apparently.
Apparently. But it's irrelevant what the method of survival is, because no one's avoided death.
Yeah.
Successfully.
Yeah.
So it's regardless, like, of whatever activity the me thinks it's up to, or
It doesn't matter. You can do what you want, basically.
Would you say that, like, this is the arrogance of the me, I suppose, thinking it has an effect on what's happening? Because I kind of think, but I do have an effect on what's happening. You
Yeah.
think not?
Well, I don't think the opposite. There just isn't anyone really. So it's not that I think you are, but you don't have an effect. There just isn't anyone really who is separate.
So I remember once when we were chatting on the phone, and you were saying what happens doesn't leave a trace of itself.
Yeah.
So nothing that happens, even what the me believes is its activity, or the so-called activity of the me, like trying to survive and whatever it's up to, just nothing affects anything really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But within the dream, there's all kinds of consequences and stories about.
Well, only apparently. Because in the end, the person is only interested in one consequence. As I said, how does this affect me on my path?
Mm.
That's the only interest on the person. If this happens, or if this happens, or if this happens, what does this do to me?
So
the rest
is
is-
so right. So then going with that, which I'm not disagreeing with that, but like
With what are you disagreeing with?
the person might conclude, oh, I did something wrong there, because it might think it was impacting negatively. It's got to change its behaviour
Of
to
course.
get impact positively. But you would reflect, in the same way, if something happened like that, let's say that body did something, there's not the sense of a me doing it, but you
Yes
might
and no, I
reflect,
know what
could
you
I have-
mean.
Could I have worded that differently, or could you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
The brain has the ability to reflect in that.
Oh yeah, of course.
So why would that function exist if there was no value to it?
There is no answer to it. I mean, it doesn't really exist, but same like sitting in a room would be the same question. Why does this exist if it's useless? Oh,
Is it just part of function? I suppose it's
there is
kind of-
no answer to it at all. So even to say, well, that's part of functioning is a story. I mean,
It's part of
what we
conditioning.
talk about is completely unknown. Sitting in a room is completely unknown. And there is no explanation for it at all.
I suppose it's a bit like conditioning, because like certain animals, like a dog, can be conditioned because they learn I get a treat if I
Yeah,
do.
but that's already a story.
Mm.
I mean, we can talk like that and speculate and just take it as said, but in the end, it's unknown.
Sitting on a chair is useful though.
Okay.
Don't
What
you think
for?
so?
No, I don't think so.
Wow. Okay.
No. No.
So there's just sitting on a chair.
Yeah, but for no one.
Exactly, not useful, not for anybody, just sitting on a chair. Just
Yes.
sitting, just sitting. Basta.
Well, no, there never is a buster.
How do
And,
you know about that?
no.
Basta, you do that.
Because it's inexperienced, so there's
Mhm.
nothing telling itself, okay, there's just sitting. It's unknown,
Mhm.
but I know, yeah, that's just
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happens.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. One can't break it down to a simple truth. There is no truth at all. Or this can't be known at all. One can't simplify it. So that's what I mean. There is no bottom line. Okay. But we can say there is sitting. Not really.
I just have a picture. There was a discussion if AI has emotions.
Hmm.
And I just discussed with some IT man, and he said it's not possible. The AI can read all good texts about philosophic texts about emotions, but it's just not there. Whatever it tells you, it's just can be possible.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's like the same as we do. Just think there, but
I don't say more. Well, but apparently there are emotions, but can't be known.
Andreas?
Yeah.
When someone says, for example, I just knew that's going to happen, or I just convinced I think this is just right, that's always never true. You can never really,
Absolutely. Yeah.
probably in hindsight, one will say, oh, it will. But
Yeah.
It's always this assumption, it's just an idea, basically.
Absolutely.
So I remember once Bob Dylan saying, "Oh, I knew I'm going to become really big and I just knew it." But it can't be true.
Yeah.
Andreas?
Yeah.
Here is the idea. If I feel my emotions enough, if I'm aware enough, if I reduce fear and all this stuff, then this will happen. This falling apart of me.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you confirm that?
No. No.
Thank you.
I mean, it's this awareness, so to speak, which is illusory. That is the only illusion. I am. I exist. And the tool that I have is awareness. In a way, the only tool the person has is awareness, because it is awareness. And this exactly is the dream. That I can become fulfilled through my own presence, by being present and through my own presence. That is the only dream.
I think you already explained, but you often speak from the person. What do you mean by the person?
This sense of awareness. Yeah. This I'm here. This impression that I am something that is now here. That's what it usually calls itself me, so to speak. That's the name it gives itself. And the seeking is part of that impression. Exactly what you just described in the end. There is something that's waiting, a goal, or something that actually is supposed to be my fulfillment or the dropping of the me or whatever, and I have to do it, or at least support it by me being there and by my own presence. But this I is dreamt, and I can't explain that. It's not logical, so to speak, but there just isn't anyone really. And that's what I sometimes you call it the person or the me or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's basically only names that it gives itself.
Yeah.
Well,
And is there a soul? No.
no, that's another name that the me
Yeah,
gives
genau,
itself.
it's another.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what most people would accept, kind of. I'm not my story, I'm not my name, I'm not my job, but there is something sitting in the body which I truly am. Something energetic, spiritual, pure, clean, and that's then the soul in Christianity, or awareness, or this impersonal presence or something. Well, the soul is just another name for the me. Or some kind of spirit, a spiritual entity that's sitting in the body. I mean, I think that's where the word spirituality comes from, because it's constantly circling around this being, this inner core that we are supposed to be, or what they say, which we are. But there isn't anyone.
What happens to awareness then?
Well, that's a funny thing, and that's what I also can't explain, the turning out that it never existed, which is simultaneously the dropping of it. It's not that it was ever there, really, but I can't. I'm really helpless there. It's an apparent dream that there is someone here who is aware of themselves.
Does it mean that the awareness has been abducted by the me?
Well, there is the sense to exist and the self-experience, self-awareness, so to speak. That is the me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But awareness in itself is neutral.
Well, there is a function of awareness that the body has, but that's not experienced. And my impression is maybe, I don't know exactly what you mean. I mean, the thing is that the sense to be awareness may feel very neutral, but it's just the person.
Okay, well, the eyes see. You see
Exactly.
a curtain or whatever.
Absolutely.
That's neutral.
Yeah.
But the
But-
me makes something out of it.
Yeah, the me experience itself to be sitting behind the eyes and energetically seeing through the eyes a separate reality.
Cunning.
So, what again?
Cunning.
Cunning. What's in German?
Schlau.
Schlau. Well, yeah, that's just how it feels.
Mhm.
As if there is something in the body, and then one could say it tries to use seeing and hearing.
There's always a tendency to have a position.
The person is the first position. I am now here. That's. But as this feels unfulfilling, the person thinks I need to take on a certain position. It's not enough to just be here. I'm supposed to be here in the right way. Open, receptive, listening, attentive, meditative. Because to just be here is that's
But the seeing curtain is also a position.
where only for someone. It would be experienced in separation. and as if I'm here, and as if I'm seeing a separate curtain.
Creates the separation.
Exactly. And there's everything separate. Me and the body, and the seeing is a process that's separate from the curtain, and the curtain is separate from the floor, and the seeing is a process that happens in the brain, and the brain is separate from the skull and the whole. It's all divided.
I like that what you said, how to see, seeing through the eyes, that there needs to be somebody behind the eyes to be seen. Is that what you said?
Kind of.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the impression of the person.
Yeah,
I'm
so that's the
sitting.
identification that there's
Exactly.
somebody behind. that's
Exactly.
seeing.
There's
Okay.
not just the seeing of a
Yeah.
curtain for
Yeah.
no one,
Right.
which is inexperienced. There is an experiencer, and the experiencer divides everything.
Thank
The
you.
seeing from the curtain and all that. But only the illusion of self-awareness does do that. When that's not there, the body and the seeing and the curtain is completely inexperienced and undivided.
But can you see the curtain from your position?
And just the corner of it.
That's hard.
I don't understand. Yeah, in the end there is no.
Andreas, is that what creates the sense of distance? Me seeing the curtain as something separate creates a sense of a distance.
Yeah, space. Yeah, here and there. That's just how it feels. I'm here, and there seems to be a space, and things seem to be over there. But again, it's kind of my awareness opening up the feeling of a space. I'm here, and
Remember this most recent time when we were in Helsinki on the Sunday, I was quite getting angry with you because I was saying there was a clear separation between the chair and the curtain, and you were saying there's not like an experience of a boundary between the chair and the curtain or anything. And then, so that experience, well, obviously experience only person, but that sense of there being a boundary anywhere between one thing and another thing is only coming from the person.
yes.
So how do you tell the difference between me and someone else asking a question?
What?
If I ask a question,
Yeah.
you look here. If someone on that side of the room asks a question, you look there. There's a boundary, isn't there?
No,
There's a boundary.
no, it's just what seems to be happening to no one. But I can't explain it. There's no answer to it, or there's no explanation to this.
But there's no experience. Well, there's no experience, but there's no space between here and there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's puzzling for me to hear that because I'm still trying to fit everything you say into my reality to make sense out of it, and it just can't. I can't put that into my reality.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if only you'd word it differently, I'd get it.
Yeah, no, it's my fault. That's the moment I'm most afraid of.
Then you're gonna get it, right?
No, if people think it's my fault. You aren't explaining it good enough.
But I will never get it.
That's true.
No matter how you put it.
Yes. Basically, because there is no it to be gotten. It's not that there is an it that you will never get. It's already operating within an illusion.
So if there's not an it, how do we come up with these concepts to describe?
No
If we're not describing anything.
No, that can't be explained because you coming up with all those concepts is the same non-it, which can't be explained or understood or comprehended.
So they're non-concepts about a non-it.
Yes,
Is what you're trying to
that's what I'm saying. Now we nailed it. Yeah. This is the unknown natural reality that can't be comprehended, experienced, understood, felt, sensed.
Andreas, when you say annoyable,
Unknown.
you cannot know this.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I hear you, when I watch your videos, I notice that for the person that comes back and claims that, I guess, that there's something there going on. When you say annoyable, what is it? I think I get it, but I don't. What is it?
I don't know either.
When you said before the same, I heard you say annoyable. For a split seconds.
Well, unknowable is actually a bit superficial. Actually, it's inexperienced. It's not just unknowable on an intellectual level, but it's completely inexperienced. So there is no experience of there being anything at all. It's not just that there is something which can't be known. It's completely inexperienced that there is something at all.
So what is it? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't get it.
No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So is it me trying to go back?
Already, and it's already me assuming there to be an it. Or this whole impression that there is an it. A certain way of reality, that it is somehow, however that is, but it is somehow. This assumption already only is part of the dream. And this impression comes with a sense of me and the question. How is it really? There isn't anything.
Because that wasn't anything. Was that?
Yeah,
I thought
nothing
it was
is
sin. I thought it was
thin.
sin. Sorry, something saw that, right?
Well, but that was nothing. The seeing of it was also nothing real. I know, it's impossible to know what sees, who sees, understand, because there is no real seeing of anything also. It's not real. I think I know what you mean. It can seem like a seeing in a glimpse or something. But actually it's now looking back and assuming that there was something seeing anything really, but there wasn't. There was just no one there, and it was exactly as it was, but it was actually inexperienced and unknown.
And that is what
The
it
natural
is.
reality. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
My hope is that if nothing is fixed, maybe it could change, that the illusion will become real, or like a dream become real, or maybe you come up with a method.
You want the me to become real?
I don't know.
What?
Could be a problem. That's a hope.
Yeah, the thing is, the moment you say this is not a fixed reality, you still assume that there is a reality, but there isn't a reality in the first place. Neither a stable one nor one that could change. That would only be apparent.
Andreas, what I'm thinking, I've asked you this before and I'll tell you what your answer was. But basically what I'm thinking is, it amazes me how many meetings, how many hours of apparent time that's been. People can ask question. You never manage to penetrate or pierce a hole in this message. And you said, when I asked you that before, it's because the message is the whole. I never really
That
got
was a
what-
good
I
answer. I don't know if I would have come up with that now.
You said you'll never find a hole in this message because the message is the whole.
Yeah.
And I didn't get what you meant, and I still don't.
Again?
I didn't get what you meant, and I still don't. So could you explain it? What you mean when you say the message is the whole? Do you mean the whole do you mean the whole of everything, or is it it's a whole? Is it there's nothing?
No, because everything, everything is whole and complete, and you can't find something that's not whole and complete. And in a way, the person wants to constantly find the problem and assume, maybe this is the problem. Maybe this is where it's not whole and complete. Maybe this is something where we can work on, or maybe that's the problem, and that's just not there. Everything is whole and complete, so you won't find a hole in a non-message, so to speak, or in a message that is everything and points to everything.
It's because I even now I can't really say the message because it is a non-message, but let's just say the message so we know we're talking about this. But it's just not in opposition to anything. I think
there is no opposition to anything.
There is no opposition to anything.
Oh no, there's just what seems to be happening, which is no thing. It's not even something that could have an opposite. Oh, this message doesn't say anything. It doesn't discriminate between true and not true, and right and wrong, and illusion and truth, and not a single bit.
Yeah, but when you say there's no opposition to anything, the me is in constant opposition.
Well, only apparently. But this is also not in opposition to wholeness.
It's just what's apparently happening.
The apparent illusion that there is a me. Yeah, of course. That's what seems to be happening, and that's it. What to do?
And it's only apparent because the me is apparent.
Exactly, and in the end, one actually has to say the illusion of a me is apparent, because there is no me. That's real and unreal and stuff like that. There is no one. But somehow people claiming, there's a me in the body. That's what seems to be happening. But there never is a me in there, no illusion of me that's somehow having this autonomous existence in the body. No, there isn't anyone.
Not only for Andreas, but for no one.
Absolutely, there's no one in there, or in there, or in there, or anywhere, or in the chair, or in the floor. Yes.
There's nothing to be pinpointed.
Not at all. Not a single bit.
Even not nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No space.
Yeah. Any knowing is dreamt. Nothing is known.
And for that reason, you say you can try to understand it intellectually,
emotionally, energetically, experientially.
but in the first place, you never can understand.
Yes, because the assumption that there is something only happens.
No need to understand.
Oh, not at all.
No.
Oh, this doesn't need any kind of realization. This doesn't need, and actually it's impossible anyway, but this doesn't need this moment of, now can I be? Because I understood, or arrived, or am liberated. That's a dream. And the person would say, it's only good when I come to this position of, by understanding it, or by feeling it, or by experiencing it. And that's a complete dream that this needs it. It never needed it.
Can we call it mystery?
Well,
Nobody can know it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
But my impression is, Well, I wouldn't also say this is a mystery. It's too natural. It's the natural reality. But yes, it's unknowable. And of course, for the person, this might create a sense of a mystery. Because it's still somehow thinking, yeah, but it could be known. There's absolutely no question about this, or no doubt about this. So it's just very natural. But yes, unknown.
This puts therapists out of business.
Hmm.
I mean, the trauma therapy is bullshit.
Well, usually they assume that there is someone.
They say it's a cop out.
They say it's,
A cop out.
I don't know that
It means
word.
that you don't. It's not. It's how do you explain cop out?
You avoid responsibility.
You avoid responsibility of taking responsibility for yourself.
With
They
this
call it-
message.
Yeah, they say
Ah, yeah,
it's
of course.
disassociation. That psychotherapists say it's disassociation.
Well, yeah, that's what they think.
That's what they think.
But that's what also many seekers think. That that's a good way to avoid life by just telling themselves that there is no one. But this doesn't work,
Yeah.
and it's not what this message points to. Of course.
They also speak about coming from the inside to the outside and not taking in the outside to the inside.
Yes, whatever. There are several
Yeah.
ways.
Whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's in a way. I mean, in a way, it's well meant because, as I said, many people. I mean, that's what the person does do anyway to kind of find a way out.
Yeah.
And if there is trauma going on in the body, the person also wants to find a way out of that. So, of course, many people use spiritual ideas in a way to escape from what's going on in their body. But, of course, then the therapists come and create the opposite teaching and say you have to deal with it. So,
But they make more money than you.
we'll see. I'm still young.
Yeah, that's true.
No, when it's not a mystery, it must be a joke. It's a joke.
No, it's a natural reality.
But in the illusion, it appears to work. For example, if you go to the gym every day, you get stronger muscles. Or I don't know, you can have trauma therapy and later you feel better. Like you don't say it cannot work inside the illusion.
Well, the thing is what you regard as working. So if you regard working as it creates effects, then it seems to work. But it just doesn't work in this one thing, namely creating a fulfilled me.
Mm-hmm.
That's all, and that's, yeah. Oh, of course, a lot of things work in their own way. So you drink 2 beers and you feel it. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You talk to someone, you feel afterwards. In a way, there's a constant action reaction apparently happening. I mean, there is no division between anything. So apparently everything has some kind of effect. You open the window and there is it. So of course that's what seems to be happening. But this one thing never happens. This one step from being not fulfilled to being more fulfilled. Nothing can bring about that. So again, in that sense, this message isn't in opposition to anything, because everything is what seems to be happening, but there's just no one there. And for the person, this would always be attached, which also isn't a problem. The person just doesn't go to therapy because for fun or out of functioning. Of course, it's always connected to this idea of this helps me on my path towards fulfillment, which isn't wrong, but it's just an illusion. There just isn't anyone on a path towards fulfillment.
Because it was fulfilled already.
Because it's already full. It's not that there is someone who should feel fulfilled. That doesn't exist. But yes, what happens is already whole and complete.
Like if the glass is full with water, and you can, I don't know, add vodka or something, but the glass is always full.
It's always full. Yes, that's my experience.
And even if you have two glasses, it's the same amount of fullness.
Yes. Well, exactly. That's the thing. You can't make wholeness more whole. Yeah, it's impossible. That's the funny thing. That's why it also never works for the person. I mean, the person constantly creates or believes to create good experiences and things that it thinks should actually add up. Well, it never adds up. It's just impossible. No matter how much is understood or that it's understood again, it doesn't add up. It just remains equally whole and complete for no one. Or timelessly whole.
You are sure?
Who do you talk to? Am I sure? You are very welcome to prove the opposite.
So whatever is happening, no energy is left.
Ah, yeah, of course.
We can do what we want. We can blow
Well, apparently,
her.
yes. Yeah.
Is the earth?
Yeah, I know it's a bit. Yeah.
Apparently.
The person thinks we can do what we want. It's the person what.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not sure. The person actually doesn't think that it can do what it wants.
Yeah.
The person actually thinks that there are things it needs to do.
Yeah,
But
but when the person hear what you say, so it then thinks, oh, I can do what I want, but
which
that's
is
the
also
person.
a story,
Also,
yeah. Which is also a story because there
Yeah,
is no-
genau. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I just mean there is no real hindrance of them.
there's also an idea what this maybe is.
It's another idea of
Yeah,
freedom.
genau.
I'm free when I can do whatever
Yeah.
I want, totally independent from all circumstances, all feelings. That's total separation, so to speak. When I become totally separate, then I'm free. Again, the person trying to use itself
Yeah.
to become free and fulfilled.
The thing is though, even though we sorry, you still.
I think.
Yeah, no, I just was thinking, I've been here in Munich a few times through the years, eternity as well, and then I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm here again, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, that whole positioning of that life story is actually completely not true.
Yeah.
Like Willemijn going from France to here, doing this, and
No, it's not
it has all
happening.
these intricacies in the stories, like, oh, these people are there and I relate to them to do this and this and this. And the whole thing is just not there.
Absolutely, it's
And
completely true.
continuously it's considered as actually happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so weird because
Yeah.
it continuously assumed that the actual truth.
That there is a life and that you are someone
Yeah.
and that this is your life and this has happened and the other people and it's known and
And
yeah.
it's completely taken for granted that's
For
what's
granted,
going
yeah,
on.
absolutely, yeah. not even really thought about. That's just the world and the reality. That's just how it is. Yeah. No. No, it isn't like that.
Oh, well, what I was going to say was in regard to the comment before when you were saying the person believes if it could be totally separate, it would be free. We laugh about it because of how ridiculous it sounds, but at the same time, within the personal reality, it does make sense.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because if you feel like,
Oh, the person comes up with a lot of good ideas. Yeah. Oh, they all make sense within the personal reality. You're assuming that there is a real me. They all make sense. Of course.
yeah, because if you are really separate, which is the experience of me, to all these obstacles that potentially burden you and hinder you from finding fulfillment.
Well, it's both. I mean, the person's problem is that it can't separate itself completely. It's always a bit attached to it. I mean, it doesn't want to lose the world completely because it also needs the world. I mean, it's its experience anyway. It can't get rid of everything. So it remains a total dream to just be. I mean, the spiritual translation would be to become the pure observer of everything. This is actually the translation of total separation.
Because then you're not attached.
But it never works because there is no separation.
Because to become the total observer or whatever it's called,
Always
you
only
then you're not affected by what happens because you're just always seeing it as
that's the idea behind it.
Good or
exactly. Then I can just observe it, and I'm unaffected. Exactly. By everything, basically. I mean, the person separates itself even from its thoughts and feelings.
So the person basically thinks detachment is the answer to its experience problem.
Well, some people say that.
Anyone really? Like,
in a way, anyone,
because
but it's also already coming from a detached position because the person is a detached position.
Yeah, because anything you seek more of is just a way to get further and further detached.
Well, apparently it never works, but oh yeah. I mean, the person wants to escape this moment.
Yeah.
In a way, it wants to completely detach itself. Well, that's it. But yeah, but it starts by being detached already, feeling separate. And in a way, one could say that's the only tool it has itself. So all ideas would somehow circle around this idea to become free from what bothers me. And then in spirituality, it boils down to escape from everything. There is no world, because the world for the person is potentially bothering. The translation would be, I'm pure awareness, or awareness is all there is, and the world doesn't exist. That's another translation for being the absolute observer, or for being only me as the answer to everything. It never works at all.
Even though the person thinks the answer is to become more detached, to become more free, wouldn't you say that more detachment creates more pain? Because there's a great...
I mean, the thing is that the person never really manages, so there never really is more detachment. There's just the illusion of, I'm so detached, or I'm so detached from everything, but it constantly breaks down, and then something happens where you're not detached anymore. It's never really more or less. And of course, just to come back, that's of course what most therapists see in this. I mean, the me, or usually people, just cannot comprehend that this is not a teaching. So of course, people who are not in that, their only possibility is to regard this as another concept that I'm telling myself, or that I try to teach people as another path. So, of course, they have to see this as another attempt to escape from
what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not a teaching. There is no one. There is no escape from what happens. There is no answer to what happens. You can't make it good. It's already this.
But it feels like there's a goal. Like if someone would manage to melt away, or if it's automatically melting away the eye, you would be happy. What this is it's not true.
No, but this impression that it's leading somewhere, that the actual thing is yet to come, that this isn't it, but there's somewhere in the future the gift waiting for me. This impression just belongs to the illusion of being someone. It's just a feeling that happens. It's not based on any truth or reality. It's just part of that impression. This isn't it, and it's leading somewhere. It's just a feeling that goes with it. You don't even have to have a story for it, like I want to become enlightened or fulfilled. It's just how it feels.
Andreas,
For the person, within the personal dream.
I might be misquoting you here, but I think once on Zoom you said the person's always in a struggle between becoming too detached and because it doesn't want to detach completely, it wants to experience some good things, but it doesn't want to be overtaken by experience or something like that. So it's always in this kind of struggle between being completely detached and then being too engulfed in everything. So it's kind of trying to find the right.
Yeah, because both would mean death in the end. To be completely detached would mean death, but to be completely swallowed in totality would also be death. So it's just very important for the person to keep the right distance.
Because that's the word you use, distance. Because to be completely detached is death, because then there's no possibility of experience.
Then I'm just completely by myself. That's very alone. And the other thing is, the other thing would be called it's too intense. I can't stand that. I have to. It would kill me. Life is too intense, or thinking about a problem, or feelings, or whatever. Then it's too much. Then it's too close. Then it's okay. Let's stay here. Nothing happens. It's not bad. I can just be here. Yeah. All right.
It's constant work, isn't it?
To be me is constant work. To not die, to survive this moment.
I don't know if I used this analogy once when we were talking before, but it feels to me like the analogy I have of my life or my experience of doing life is, you know, you see those people who are doing plate spinning, and they do the plates, and then they go to that end, and then those ones stop losing momentum.
Sorry,
go back
what is plate spinning?
So you have a stick, and you have a plate on it, and you spin it, and then you get the next one going, and the next one going, and by the time you're at plate number 5, you've got to go back to plate number 1 to get it spinning again because it's losing momentum. You don't want them to drop. And that's how my life feels. Okay, that plate's spinning nice. I'll go on to that plate. I'll go on to that plate. It's like, oh fuck, that one's losing momentum.
Oh yeah.
It's like a juggling act.
Absolutely. I mean, most people aren't really, I mean, also spiritual people, but usually it's not just one goal. I mean, people just have those numerous construction sites, the money situation, the job situation, the relationship situation, the situation with the affair, then my spiritual path, and it has to juggle with all those things, hoping that this life gives fulfillment, that it gives a little bit of fulfillment from that and a little bit from that, and then, of course, and I have to do it. That's just how I feel. And for most people, seeking is doing it. They wouldn't even say that they are seeking. They would say, well, I'm living my life. Or it's seeking. It's this constant juggling. Yeah.
But plate spinning can be very useful because it takes all of the attention, and it's no mind.
No, it's just distraction. Yeah, I mean, that's also what a lot of people sell as a useful method to just bring your attention somewhere else, thinking that it actually helps. It's just replacing one state with the other, and this one state feels better relative to the state before, until it gets boring, and then you. It's
So you know it.
yeah, it's no help. It's just occupation.
But it can be fun. For no one, of course.
Yes, of course. No, when there is no
There-
one. No,
there-
yeah, but when there is no one, this game can't happen anymore. Because then there is no play of attention anymore. Attention is awareness. So there's nothing I put my attention on.
How does this work with children?
Now it gets really serious. Why? What's the question?
No, I think that with children, your attention is so much in the here and now, in the doing and being. I would assume
Yeah.
I wasn't such a good father myself, but you have experience with that. My question would be, how would you see that?
Ask him. Yeah, I still don't get the question. Really.
Not really clear about it myself.
I mean, there just is no one really, and apparently there is a body that functions, that does what it does.
I mean, do the children grow up with the feeling of there is no one?
Well, my impression is at some point, usually, they experience themselves as someone.
Automatically, naturally.
Or it's the same. I mean, the illusion to be someone is the same natural reality. There is no one who can prevent it, or even thinks it should be prevented. And yes, in the beginning, so to speak, it looks very innocent because it's, as you say, pretty much at the moment. It's more transient in a way, but there can also be already coming suffering out of that. Or there is no one really.
Anyway, it's for next time.
No, there just is no answer to it.
No.
And there's no next time.
Okay.
No, there's just no answer to it. Because it just happens. Fathering happens and kids happen, but there is no real father and there is no real kid.
That's an interesting point you made there about. I remember when I was a child, but like there are generally it's more like loose and playful and just being, but then there can come moments of intense tantrums. It's not as serious yet. The experience of being a person as for an adult.
Yes and no. I mean, the suffering from not getting an ice cream. I mean, as adults, we laugh about it, but for the kid, this is deadly serious.
My parents weren't laughing when I had tantrums.
Yeah, well,
I
they
wish they
just
did.
can't stand it. Yes, but I say it can also be for a kid deadly serious, and not because it's about starving. That's another thing, because then there is a body reaction. But there can be a huge pain from.
As if it's
I
existential.
want my ice cream. I want the meter drop.
No, but the thing, the thing about I want my ice cream becomes existential for a child because it's like I can't live
absolutely.
without this ice cream.
Exactly. Like some people would say, I need to become enlightened and suffer from that. Equally serious.
When children
I can't go on.
When children start doing the second one, then it's like even I think won't work.
All right, so I think that's it. There is no message and no teaching and no suggestion from my side, of course. There is no one. There is no one who is doing life or is able to not do anything or stuff like that. So all there is what seems to be happening, and that's naturally whole and complete for no one, of course. There is no realization of it. And it doesn't need any kind of realization. It's already timelessly whole and complete. It's just this. Thank you very much for this lovely